Hey, hey, hey. Time for another Out of This World story from rSpace. They say cheaters always leave clues, but sometimes the proof is right there in black and white, literally. Today on rSpace, the diary doesn't lie, and it doesn't care about excuses. Found my wife's cheating through her diary, blindsided her with the divorce papers, and the kids hate her. I, 45 male, have been married to my wife, Anna, 42 female, for 16 years. We have 2 kids, a teenage daughter and a younger son. From the outside, our marriage probably looked stable, maybe even happy. I was the kind of husband who believed that every rough patch was just a phase, that good communication and patience could fix anything. Turns out sometimes what you think is a phase is actually your spouse falling out of love with you and into someone else's arms. For context, our life isn't flashy. We are normally steady people, a family that wouldn't be noticed by anyone in public. I worked long hours at a logistics company. She's a freelance writer and designer. She'd always been the artistic one. I used to find that endearing. Not anymore. Things started to shift about a year ago. She became distant. Our fights became longer and unsolvable. She was mostly lost in her world, spending days and nights in front of the screen. The late night phone scrolling turned from Pinterest boards to something else. Sex became non-existent. When I'd ask what she was doing, she'd say just reading. I had a gnawing feeling growing inside of me that something wasn't right. I felt like she was slipping into depression. I asked her to seek help. She brushed it away that she was just tired and burned out because of work. I didn't think much of it. I was too busy trying to meet deadlines and working overtime, too tired most nights to overthink. 20 days ago, I was under the weather and took a day off. After resting for a few hours when I was feeling better, I thought of cleaning my closet. It was a mess for a long time. I cleaned my side of it and then thought, let me do it for hers. She would be happy when she sees it. I started folding hers. Buried beneath her piles of clothes, I found a small black leather journal. It wasn't the first time that I had seen it. She owned a lot of diaries like that. She jotted down design sketches and mood boards, so I assumed it was work-related, but the way it was hidden made me suspicious. Curiosity got the better of me, and I flipped the pages. I noticed her handwriting inside, saw the dates, and it was the current year. I thought it was just a journal about her day, appointments, or random notes. But as I kept reading, I realized it wasn't a place she vented about work. There were no sketches or to-do lists, but long, emotional paragraphs. I started reading it, thinking it would have answers that changed her behavior. The first few entries were normal. Her thoughts, frustrations, reflections. It was subtle. She wrote about feeling tired of a boring life, about how our lives had turned into routines and checklists. She said I'd stopped being attentive, that I was always too logical, too focused on fixing things instead of listening. I remember pausing there thinking, that's not true. I tried to listen. I really did. Reading it in her handwriting, it sounded like she had already convinced herself she was unloved. Then one line caught my eye. He understands me ways Ethan never could. Ethan's me. That's when my hands were getting cold. I kept reading. The he she mentioned wasn't me. It was someone she met through a client. She wrote about how they connected emotionally, how she hadn't felt this alive in years, how she couldn't stop thinking about him. A few pages later, a name started showing up. Mark. Wrote that he saw her creativity and actually listened when she talked. Then it turned into lunches, coffee breaks, and collaborations. At first she framed it like friendship. He gets me. It's nice to talk to someone who doesn't shut me down. With every entry, I could see the line blurring. I caught myself smiling at his texts today. I shouldn't, but I can't help it. Ethan means well, but everything he says feels annoying lately. With Mark, everything feels light. Then it got darker. She started using words like alive, connected, and free when she was with him. She wrote that she hated how guilty she felt after coming home to me, that every nice thing I did just made her feel worse. She said she couldn't tell if she still loved me or if she just loved the life we'd built. The kids, the house, the comfort. Then came the part that broke me. We finally crossed the line tonight. I should feel guilty, but I don't. I needed to feel wanted again. The date was a Friday night when I was working late. She had told me that she had a client meeting. A fair partner had booked a room for them. She had written, I told myself I wouldn't go. I went anyway. I don't know what was happening to me. I feel horrible, but also like I've been starving and finally ate something real. That line tore through me. The way she described the guilt right alongside the pleasure, she was rationalizing it. I can't describe the feeling in words. It was like every memory, every good moment we'd shared suddenly turned sour. By the end, I realized she had convinced herself she was the victim, so she could justify betraying me. I closed the diary and sat there for a long time, staring at nothing. I took pictures of the diary pages, noted the dates, names, and places she had written about, organized everything into a serial order, and saved it on my phone and laptop. When she came home later that evening, she smiled at me like nothing was wrong, kissed me on the cheek, asked what I wanted for dinner. I played along. I couldn't even look her in the eye. That night, I made a plan. Instead of confronting her, I started documenting everything. I checked her credit card transactions and saw a pattern. Lunches at the same cafe, hotel bookings under client meetings. It all lined up with her diary entries. I acted normal for weeks, pretended to be clueless. She had no idea I knew. We even went to a family dinner together, where she laughed with my parents, held my arms and kissed me. It made me sick. Meanwhile, I lawyered up. We started the paperwork for divorce. He advised me to gather as much proof as possible, and I did. I wanted this to be clean and irrefutable. No drama, no begging, no second chances. So, I started checking the diary regularly. I had to know how deep it went. And every time I opened it, she'd slipped further. She wrote that she couldn't stand how I chewed too loudly, how I left my work bag on the table, how my questions about her day felt interrogative. She even compared me to that guy. Mark seems to listen when I talk. Ethan interrupts. Mark compliments me. Ethan gives advice. Mark makes me feel seen. Ethan makes me feel invisible. Her guilt was there, but it was selective. I hate lying to him. He wouldn't understand. I wish I could stop, but when I see Mark, I forget everything. Maybe I owe myself this. I can have one selfish thing after years of sacrifice. She wasn't sorry for what she was doing, but for getting caught in her own conscience. After I uncovered the truth, my attitude towards her changed. Even if I tried to act normal, and that reflected in her diary, it became less about him, more about me. She said she couldn't stand my silence, that I'd changed, that I wasn't the man she married. She wrote, "He feels like a stranger sitting across from me. He's always busy chasing work. I wish he'd yell or fight or something, anything but that calm look in his eyes." It disgusted me, shattered me, but still read it and documented it. 2 days ago, everything came to a head. I've been waiting for the right moment, not because I owed her that courtesy, but because I didn't want the kids around when it happened. They were at my parents' place for the weekend, which gave me the space I needed. I'd already spoken to my lawyer, finalized the paperwork, and had the folder ready on my table by the time she got home. She came in, humming softly, holding a grocery bag. She smiled, asked if I wanted pasta or stir-fry for dinner, and then noticed the documents on the table. Her smile faltered. "What's this?" I replied calmly, "It's what you think it is. Divorce papers." She blinked, like the word didn't register at first, then chuckled. "Come on, you almost got me." She opened it and froze. Look at her audacity. She's telling me, "Who's she? Are you in love?" I laughed and said, "I wish, but this time it's Mark. That's his name, right?" Her face changed. She tried to regain control, played the victim to defend herself. "You went through my diary. That was private. Those were thoughts, not confessions." I didn't say anything at first, just slid my phone across the table, screen facing her. It was open to a folder titled Diary Entries. Each image was a photo of her handwriting with the dates. Her face went pale as she scrolled through. In a shaky voice, she whispered, "It wasn't real. You don't understand. It was a fantasy, a sort of writing therapy. I made things up to process feelings. You invaded my privacy." I almost laughed at that. Fantasy? You really think the hotel receipt under your name and the room booked for two was a fantasy? The texts you deleted but forgot were backed up to the cloud? That was imagination too? She looked cornered but still tried to spin it. "I wasn't happy. You didn't see me. You stopped caring. You were always busy with work. I needed to feel my worth again. But it didn't mean I stopped loving you." I shrugged, her hands off of me. I was busy providing for the family, the kids' tuition, saving for their college, unlike you fantasizing and cheating on my marriage. She tried to argue, but I snapped at her, told her I wasn't going to fight, that the papers were ready, everything was documented, and I wanted this to be clean. No public mess and no shouting matches, just the truth and an end. Then she broke down, sobbing into her hands, said she didn't want a divorce, that we could fix it for the kids' sake, that maybe we could go to counseling, take a break maybe. Her words, not mine. "Let's stay married for the kids' sake, and if you want, you can see someone outside. but let's not ruin what we have built. I laughed at it. She was offering an open marriage essentially so that she could continue to fool around. She defended, I meant this for you. We can live separate lives while still being married and live like a family. No one has to know, right? Let the kids grow up and move out. Then we'll see. From now, let it be. It got me confused. I asked her, you almost despise me. Then why do you want to stay with me? Better divorce and get married to him. Why complicate the matter? She didn't answer right away. Then, almost in a whisper, said, he doesn't want a marriage. He's barely 30. It's just fun for him. He's not sacrificing his youth for me. It all clicked why the diary entries had become more resentful over time. She was grieving the fact that he never intended to replace me. She'd gambled our marriage on a fantasy that was never real for him. I told her I wasn't going to humiliate her or expose her, but I wouldn't be her backup plan either, and she better come up with what she wants to tell the kids. The kids came back yesterday, but she hasn't shown any sign of talking to them. Today morning, I again nudged her to tell the kids, else I will. She sobbed, what should I say? I snapped, truth. She begged me to consider other options as she didn't want to divorce. Said she was ready to do everything to save the marriage. I said none needed. I don't want to be with someone who disrespects me. Now, I'm losing my mind because of her gaslighting. Every time I ask her to talk to the kids, she's crying and pleading, don't ruin their innocence. She's behaving as if I'm ruining the kids' lives. She's saying, why do you want to ruin their childhood? Look how happy they are. Why you want to screw everything up? Like, what the heck? I didn't cheat on my marriage. She did. Then how am I the villain? Any advice for me to stay ahead of this woman? I don't trust her anymore. She can pull any game to save herself. Update 1. Thanks for all the solid advice. It's been a month since D-Day. Here's what everything happened since the last update. After chasing her for 2 days, she sat the kids down together for a talk. Without going into details, I just said that their mother and I were separating, that we both loved them, and that none of this was their fault. For a few seconds, no one spoke. Our daughter, Emma, 13, is perceptive, a lot. She looked between us and asked why. Anna explained that sometimes adults grow apart and it was no one's fault. No one's fault? I could feel the words digging into me. I wanted to scream that it's a lie. My sweet little baby turned to me and asked, is that true, Dad? I hesitated long enough for her to see the answer in my silence. She looked back at her mom and whispered, you did something, didn't you? Anna's face fell and she quietly whispered, Emma, please don't. But she stood up shaking. Just tell the truth. I'm not stupid. You've been acting weird for months. You barely talk to him. You think we don't notice? Son started crying. I pulled him close and told him everything would be okay. But my little lady wasn't letting it go. Interrogated like, did you cheat on Dad? Anna froze. I could see her searching for a way out, but she couldn't find one. Then said, that's not what this is about. Emma snapped back, then what is it about? Anna sighed. Sweetheart, I made mistakes, adult mistakes, but I love you and your brother more than anything. She shot back, mistakes, wow. Did you think what it would do to our family? Look at Dad. Looks like he's dying every day, and you just pretend nothing's wrong? I had to step in. I told her to stop, that it wasn't her responsibility to understand everything right now. She stared at me with eyes full of tears. So you're still going to protect her? No matter how satisfying it was to have her support, I still can't let her cross the boundaries. Despite everything, Anna was still her mother, and she could not disrespect her. I have to raise her in a way that she is respectful, even when angry. Anna broke down, crying and blabbering she was sorry, that she never meant to hurt anyone, but Emma just shook her head, muttered, you already did, and stormed into her room. Son didn't fully understand. He just looked scared and kept asking, are we still going to live together? I tucked him in and told him things would be different, but okay. He asked if Mom was leaving. I said not yet, but we were figuring things out. He nodded and turned to the wall, pretending to sleep. Later that night, Anna went to talk to Emma. I stayed behind. After a while, I heard voices from the hallway, not shouting this time, but the kind of broken, exhausted argument that happens when people both are too drained to fight. Anna came downstairs an hour later. Her eyes were red. She said Emma wouldn't talk to her, that she just kept saying, you ruined Dad. I didn't say anything. There wasn't anything left to say. Over the next few days, Emma barely spoke to her. She avoided dinner, stayed in her room with her headphones on. When I tried to talk to her, she said she was fine. Then one day I saw them talking in the backyard. Anna was trying to apologize again, but Emma just snapped and said something and walked back inside. I enrolled in counseling. There are special programs designed for these cases. They have individual sessions with each kid, and then the siblings together, then with each parent, and then the full family together. There was no way to heal the kids, especially my daughter, who was at a crucial stage of her development. The therapist was calm and neutral, guiding us to speak respectfully. We also had a separate couple session. It was not to work on the marriage, but to learn how to co-parent our kids and coexist in a new setup. When it was Anna's turn, she talked about losing herself, about feeling unseen. When it was mine, I said, sometimes people mistake comfort for neglect. She wanted a thrill. I gave her a home. She didn't argue, just cried quietly. After the session, she told me she'd hired a lawyer. Said she needed someone to protect her interests. I nodded. I expected that. My lawyer had already warned me. I told her I wasn't going to drag this out or turn it into a war, but I was moving out soon. I've already started looking for a small apartment nearby, close enough for the kids to visit anytime. My lawyer is handling the division of assets. I'll leave the house to her and the kids until things are finalized. Last night, I found her sitting alone at the dining table, staring at the papers again. She didn't say anything when I walked past, just whispered, "I ruined everything, didn't I?" I didn't answer. Update 2. We're in the middle of the divorce proceedings now. My lawyer advised me to keep everything clean and professional, and that's exactly what I've done. We've agreed on joint custody, alternating weekends, and I made sure the kids' schooling and living arrangements stay as stable as possible. She tried to negotiate, said she wanted to keep the house for the kids' sake. I didn't fight, but she has to buy me out of my share. When she realized what that entailed financially, she went quiet. She's still a freelancer, and most of her projects were with the same circle of clients, including a fair partner. From what I've gathered, things with him fell apart right around the time I served her. A few days after she got the papers, she tried to reach him. I know because I overheard her sending him desperate voicemails. "Can we talk? Please call me. I need to know where we stand." And then, "If you're done, just say it." He never did. She told me later during one of our brief civil talks about the kids that he ghosted her. He just disappeared, blocked her, ended their work contract, pulled all pending payments. She tried to say it like it didn't matter, like she was angrier than hurt, but her voice cracked halfway through. I didn't say anything, I just nodded. Since then, I've seen the reality start to hit her. The kids told me that they hear her sobbing at night. Meanwhile, I've been staying in a rental apartment across town. The kids have been spending weekends with me. My daughter doesn't talk much during the drives. When she does, she asks quiet, thoughtful questions. Things like, "Did you stop loving Mom after she did that?" And, "Do you think she still loves you?" I try to answer honestly without poisoning her mind. I tell her that love doesn't disappear overnight, and there are a few things about love, self-respect, and loyalty. She told me she's proud I didn't yell or break things, that I handled it like a grown-up. It was one of the few moments that actually made me tear up. My son, on the other hand, just wants to keep things normal. We play video games, make pancakes on Sundays, watch cartoons together. He doesn't ask big questions, and I don't force him. He's 10 and deserves a childhood that isn't ruined by his parents' mess. We're still going to family therapy once a week, mostly for the kids, but it's helping me too. The counselor said what we're all living through is grief, not just for the marriage, but for seeing our family split apart. Anna mostly stays quiet. The defensiveness is gone. The last few times I went to the house to drop off the kids, she looked tired, not physically but emotionally, like someone carrying the weight of everything she broke and realizing there's no fixing it now. Sometimes she breaks down in the session, says she wishes she could undo everything. I can tell she means it, but regret doesn't rebuild what's been burned down. Her relationship with the kids is strained. Emma still barely talks to her. She told me she feels sorry for her mom, but not enough to forgive her yet. I told her forgiveness isn't something you owe, it's something you choose when you're ready. As for me, I'm okay. Numb sometimes, relieved mostly. There are moments when I still wake up expecting to see her beside me, then remember she's not mine anymore. Anna's lawyer reached out last week. She's not contesting much anymore. The settlement will be fair. She'll keep the house for the kids, and I'll take care of child support and split the savings. I didn't want a war, I just wanted peace, and maybe now I'm finally getting there. The diary part kills me. Like, who cheats and then journals about it like it's a romance novel? She literally left you a written confession and still had the nerve to say it was fantasy? No, Anna. Fantasy is winning the lottery or owning a beach house. This was just lying with extra steps. She cheats, gets caught, and suddenly you're the bad guy for not understanding her feelings. Unreal. She's lucky you didn't lose your mind right then and there. Honestly, she made her bed, and now she can cry in it. You did everything right. She just couldn't handle being married to someone steady and decent because she mistook stability for dullness. That's on her. Have you ever stumbled upon someone's diary or personal journal? Did you read it? If so, did what you found change the way you saw them forever? Share their secrets in the comments below. And thank you for joining us today on rSpace. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. See you next time.